for the worst tonight. Low temperatures dropping into the single digits across the northern part of the state. Teens in the south, biting north winds are going to cause wind chill temperatures well below zero. Weather planner for central Iowa during the primetime hours, turning windy. Some snow showers still roaming through the area, in 24 overnight. 14 degrees, wind chill 15 below zero. Ooh, cold. Bundle up. Thank you, Don, and thank you for joining us.
We'll be back tonight at 10. Have a good evening.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Tonight, reporting from Washington.
Good evening. We're going to begin this evening with what can happen when you capture a terrorist. West Germany, as you know, is holding a man who was suspected in the hijacking of TWA Flight 847 to Beirut a year and a half ago. Well, today in Beirut, for the second time in 4 days, a West German citizen has been kidnapped by unidentified gunmen. Germans believe there's a connection, and the terrorist in Germany may soon be on his way to jail in this country. Our first report is from Steve Shepard, who's in Frankfurt.
While accused terrorist Mohammed Ali Hamadei sits in a Frankfurt jail, the German government is still debating exactly what to do with him. Publicly, however, those few officials who will talk insist that extraditing Hamadei to the U.S. is now mostly a matter of paperwork.
It's just a question of time. We check the documents through and then the procedure works as normal.
But the government is coming under increasing pressure not to send Hamadei to America. This morning in Beirut, witnesses say German electronics technician Alfred Schmidt was abducted as he left his seaside hotel. German businessman Rudolf Cordes was kidnapped last Saturday.
We are concerned about the life of Mr. Cordes. That's all I can say at this time.
The worry seems justified.
Dass der Cordes in Beirut gefährdet wird.
The PLO's chief spokesman in Germany told ABC News today that he believes extraditing Hamadei to the U.S. could endanger both German hostages. In the German parliament, some legislators are suggesting that it might be better to keep Hamadei where he is, at least for now. But the government here is also under pressure from the U.S. not to cave in to terrorists. Most observers here believe Hamadei will be sent to America. Chancellor Kohl values his relations with the United States, and he knows how badly the Reagan administration wants to get its hands on Hamadei. Steve Shepard, ABC News, Frankfurt.
Well, the West Germans have had more than their share of terrorism in the last 10 or 15 years, and the government, whether socialist or conservative, has always stood very firmly against any concessions. Still, the Attorney General, Edwin Meese, felt required today to give the Germans some encouragement. Here's ABC's Dennis Trout.
The Attorney General is trying to reinforce West Germany's resolve not to give in to threats of reprisals in the Hamadei case and to go ahead with extradition. In a speech today, he said political will is a key element in combating terrorism.
We have a moral obligation to other potential hostages not to capitulate to hostage takers would only encourage many more incidents.
Meese spoke at a Washington conference designed to show the role of new technology in fighting terrorism. And in fact, new gadgetry is part of the planning for security at the federal courthouse here, where Mohammed Hamadei is likely to go on trial. Government sources say they would likely watch streets near the federal courthouse with cameras mounted on the building itself, as well as with rooftop observers. The suspect probably would be housed at a military jail, either at Quantico, Virginia, or Fort Meade, Maryland. Concern about the possibility of terrorist retaliation for the Hamadei case prompted the Pentagon today to put U.S. bases all over the world on increased alert. At the same time, customs officers at airports were ordered to be especially watchful. Still, federal officials admit there are too many U.S. interests worldwide to protect all of them from terrorism. They say whatever may be done, Americans in Europe and the Middle East are vulnerable to terrorist reprisals. Dennis Trout, ABC News, Washington.
The hostage negotiator Terry Waite has caused a flurry of speculation today, largely because nobody has seen him for many hours. We are told he has been meeting in Beirut with some of those who are actually holding the hostages, but we don't really know any more than that. Speaking of negotiating, Robert McFarlane, the president's former national security advisor, said on Nightline last night that when he first arrived in Iran last May, he was not there to negotiate for hostages. Someone had already done that before him.
I was told that before I ever went, an arrangement had been concluded through which all of the U.S. hostages, that's 4, and Mr. Buckley's remains, would be turned over before I ever started this dialogue.
It didn't happen, as you know. McFarlane went back and told the president he recommended against any further such dealings with the Iranians. They went on, as you know, anyway. The Senate Select Committee investigating Iran has chosen its counsel. ABC's Britt Hume reports he is a New York lawyer named Arthur Lyman. He is very important because he will organize and lead the Senate's investigation of the Iran affair and even suggest questions which senators can ask witnesses. In a moment, the president, he plans a meeting with the special committee investigating the National Security Council. And later in this broadcast, the CIA Director William Casey, his cancer is spreading. And caring for the elderly at home, some people are not getting the government help they need. We'll also have a report on the Green Bay Packers. Their faithful fans are disillusioned.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings in Washington. Brought to you by Canon Copier.
Say, these must be Jack's new Canon personal copiers. Great color.
Yeah, and they copy in 5. You want to see?
Go ahead. Make my day.
Everything you need to copy with is in this replaceable cartridge.
I'll do that.
Good thing Canon has PCs for every personality, even pussy agents.
Lighten up, Jack.
These new Canon personal copiers are light. Put one in my car.
What a guy.
Personal copiers for every personality. For information, call toll-free 1-800-OK-CANON.
Here's Jerry with a new car.
What'd you pay for it?
About $5,500.
Are you kidding?
Does it run on batteries?
What's it made of? Clay paper?
Does it have a motor? Does it have a motor? Can I kick the tires? Will the door come off the hinges?
Hey, guess what? It's a Subaru!
Oh, a Subaru!
Subaru!
Only one inexpensive car is built like a Subaru. Introducing the Subaru Justy. Inexpensive and built to stay that way.
Such a smart boy! Oh!
The White House said today that President Reagan will meet on Monday with the special commission he set up to investigate his National Security Council. There is still no sign that the president is planning to speak publicly soon about the Iran affair itself. At the White House this evening, Sam Donaldson.
During a White House photo opportunity today with the First Lady, Mrs. Reagan spoke up for her husband on the Iranian arms matter and explained why the president himself continues to remain silent.
He's waiting for the Tower report to come in. He's waiting for Absher. He just wants more input, which is, I believe, the responsible way to do it. Sometimes, it's harder to sit here and say nothing when you really want to say something.
White House press spokesmen deny the president is simply waiting until everyone else's story is in so as to ensure he will not be contradicted. But Press Secretary Larry Speakes confirmed today that Mr. Reagan held a secret Oval Office meeting December 19th with the then chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Republican David Durenberger, to go over what the committee had learned. Speakes said Durenberger had proposed the meeting. Durenberger said actually it was the White House's idea, that he revealed no direct testimony, and there was nothing wrong with it.
What I tried to do for the president is to let him know why we were doing what we were doing, give him some notion of the quality of the product that I hoped would come out of the work of the committee.
The new chairman of the committee, a Democrat, said he was surprised at Durenberger's action.
I think we have to proceed with great caution in matters like that. I have no plan to brief the president or vice president when we finish with our report.
White House officials acknowledged publicly today they are discussing replacing ailing CIA Director William Casey, but insisted there is no full-fledged search on. However, sources close to former Senator Howard Baker said Baker was sounded out about the job, said no thanks, then received a call from the president who expressed regret that Baker wouldn't take it. Sam Donaldson, ABC News, the White House.
ABC News has learned more about the condition of the CIA director, Mr. Casey. Last month, he had a malignant tumor removed from his brain. George Strait reports that his problem with cancer is graver than that alone.
CIA Director Casey is a lot sicker than officials have been willing to admit. ABC News has learned that in addition to his brain tumor, Mr. Casey has cancer of the prostate gland as well. The two cancers are different types and not related to one another. Sources say Mr. Casey's prostate cancer was discovered 15 months ago and treated with radiation and chemotherapy. For 6 weeks, he received daily treatments. While time-consuming, experts say the treatments are not debilitating, even for someone Mr. Casey's age.
The judgment is not impaired. Patients get around very nicely and carry on their normal activities.
3 months ago, doctors noticed Mr. Casey's condition deteriorating rapidly. It turned out to be caused by the brain tumor. During examinations related to that tumor, doctors found his prostate cancer had spread to his bones.
Prostatic cancer, like many other cancers, involves mainly the vertebral column, the ribs, the pelvis, the skull, occasionally long bones.
The White House says there are rumors that Mr. Casey had other problems, but it didn't know about his prostate cancer. Officials now, though, are quite concerned because Mr. Casey's brain tumor has left him barely able to speak, and his prostate cancer has spread to the point where it's life-threatening. George Strait, ABC News, Washington.
When we come back, a proposal for random drug testing of commercial pilots and flight crews.
When you get a cold or an allergy,
You need some herbal tea.
you'll also get a lot of advice.
What you want to do is feed a cold.
A lot of advice.
Take duties and call me in the morning.
But the best advice is what doctors have said millions of times. Take Dimetapp. Dimetapp in non-prescription formulas brings proven relief. So take the advice of doctors and pharmacists.
The tea works. Huh?
And take Dimetapp. The best advice you can take.
Is this what a weekend is really for? Marriott presents the $59 two for breakfast weekend, where you can be alone together, lounge by the pool in sweet oblivion, dance the night away, one glorious night or a whole weekend for just $59 per night, not per person. A hearty breakfast for two is even included in the price. Marriott's two for breakfast weekend, $59 through March 28th. Call 1-800-USA-WKND.
Claude Akins here for Super Poli-Grip. Hey, if you wear dentures, I'll bet you know the pain of getting food stuck between your dentures and gums, like these darn seeds. Ouch! Let me tell you about Super Poli-Grip. Watch. You see how it forms this seal between your dentures and gums? That's why Super Poli-Grip helps keep food out, dentures in. Simple. If you like to eat like I do. Remember, Super Poli-Grip keeps food out, dentures in.
For the second time this week, there has been a proposal made for random drug testing among employees in the public sector. There is already a proposal for testing engineers and other crews on the railroads. Today, a similar proposal for commercial aviation. Here's ABC's Bill Greenwood.
59,000 commercial airline crew members would be required to undergo drug testing when they apply for a job after any accident and on a random basis. 26,000 Transportation Department employees must submit to similar screening. And 200,000 railroad workers would be included in the drug program, but that will require new authority from Congress. Transportation Secretary Dole says she doesn't know if drugs are a major cause of accidents, calling the program part of the administration's overall war against narcotics.
First of all, we have the safest transportation system in the world, and I want to make certain that it remains that way.
Angry pilots say there's no evidence drugs ever caused a commercial airline crash.
We are not going to accept random drug testing without a major fight.
I would just call on the unions now, rather than fighting me, let's work together to eradicate the problem.
The secretary cited this month's Amtrak crash as evidence of the need. 2 crewmen tested positive for marijuana. But a rail union argues about the presumption of innocence.
To me that if a rapist has the right, constitutionally, not to be searched without probable cause, a railroad worker should also have that right.
But Congress today began reconsidering those rights with legislation to require random drug testing. Bill Greenwood, ABC News, Washington.
Our special report on health care tonight focuses on 27 million Americans who, under Medicare, qualify for home health care. Some of them are falling through the safety net and not getting the home care they need. In some cases, they are being denied the help by the federal government. ABC's Joe Bergantino is on special assignment.
You say yes, Bill. You say yes, Bill. Come on, sweetheart.
Enter the world of Bill and Kitty Dugan of Boca Raton, Florida. Married 61 years, they are both in their 80s. She suffers from Alzheimer's disease. For the past 10 years, he has cared for her at home.
I'd kill her before I'd let her go to a nursing home. I know I couldn't do that.
But Bill Dugan might not have that choice because Medicare has stopped paying for the daily 1-hour visits of a home health worker. The government says it doesn't pay for daily care.
I want, well, I think I am entitled to someone to just take care of my wife. If they can bathe her and take care of her and give her the nursing care that she requires, I'll give her more.
When he tries to pick her up even, a lot of times she's dropped and he cries. That really hurts him because he loves her very dearly. And no one should have to go through that.
But since 1983, the number of individuals denied home health care has almost quadrupled, from nearly 58,000 to 227,000. For visiting nurse Fran Jones, those numbers have a human face.
And when you go into the home and you see some of the situations that these people are living with, it makes you wonder, where are the people that are making these cutbacks? You ready? Yeah.
98-year-old Carolyn Hassold of Philadelphia is arthritic and diabetic. Fran Jones visits her once a week to fill her insulin syringes, something Carolyn can't do herself because she's also legally blind. But now Carolyn Hassold is caught in a catch-22. Pennsylvania law requires a nurse to do the job, but Medicare doesn't agree, and so it won't pay.
I don't think they understand it, because they understand when they be in my position.
The Medicare statute doesn't say give all the care people want. It doesn't even say give all the care people need.
Dr. William Roper heads the Health and Human Services Department's division that pays for home health care. He argues denials are up because his agency is screening out more applicants who don't qualify for help under the law. His critics argue the government is rigidly and illegally interpreting and changing the law to save dollars.
One little regulation after another on top of another on top of another, which is the effect of depriving the elderly and the senior citizens of their rights to the Medicare benefit.
Making matters worse, government cutbacks forcing quicker hospital discharges. More people need home health care at a time when it's much more difficult to get.
How's your appetite?
All right.
In response, many home care agencies are providing services they know Medicare won't pay for. They are doing it for Carolyn Hassold and Kitty Dugan.
Yeah.
Is it sore?
No.
A lot of them would either wind up in nursing homes, or a lot of them would just die.
The options for Bill and Kitty Dugan are dwindling. They can't afford to pay out $200 a week of their own money for a home health aide, or $30,000 a year for a nursing home.
I just want them to leave her with me. I'll take care of her. Don't worry about that. Just do the things that I can't do. Yes, you will, Bill. Yes, you will.
Joe Bergantino, ABC News, Boca Raton, Florida.
There has been another important ruling from the Supreme Court on maternity rights. Last week, the court ruled that states may require companies to give maternity leave to pregnant workers and reinstate them when they want to go back to work. Today, the High Court ruled unanimously that states do not have to pay unemployment benefits to women who quit their jobs because they are pregnant. A founding member of the radical Weather Underground has been arrested after 17 years on the run. In Eugene, Oregon, last night, FBI agents arrested Silas Bissell, heir to the founder of the carpet cleaning company. Bissell, now 44, was wanted for allegedly planting a bomb at the University of Washington in 1970. He is being held without bail. Overseas, black-on-black violence has flared up again in South Africa. Gunmen firing automatic weapons stormed into a home in a black township south of Durban and killed 12 people as they slept. 7 of the victims were children. Only one, a 10-year-old boy, escaped from hiding in a closet, and there is no reporting so far on why it happened. When we come back, the dollar is down, weaker, and Japanese concern is up.
Here's the difference between wet air fresheners and Dry Breeze's air and fabric deodorizer. Wet air fresheners aren't meant for fabric. Dry Breeze's is dry. Its luxurious fragrance freshens the air without wet fallout on fabric and furniture. Dry Breeze's freshness without wetness.
Is your breath a little strong? Then have a Milk-Bone dog biscuit to help scrape away plaque and food particles to give you cleaner teeth, fresher breath. Get Milk-Bone because, naturally, every dog wants fresher breath.
Hello?
Counselor, can you be at the courthouse in 20 minutes?
Sure.
The real test of a personal road car doesn't happen on a super speedway or test track full of plastic cones. It happens in the real world every day. Buick Somerset, with its fuel-injected engine and front-wheel drive, can handle the fast lane of life and not make you feel like you've been in the Indy 500. Somerset from Buick, where better really matters.
Jack Rafferty proves you just can't tell.
The fellas that I work with are pretty perceptive. They don't miss too much. No one had picked up the fact that the gray was gone from my hair. It was that simple. No one realized I was using the Grecian Formula 16. It was so gradual. The Grecian has a natural look about it. It's not a dye, it's a clear liquid. The questions most asked by the fellas at work were, what are you doing? You working out? Are you losing weight? And unless I told them I was using the Grecian Formula 16, they never would have guessed.
Grecian Formula 16. You just can't tell who's using it.
Hello, Dallas?
Well, hi, Chicago. Sounds a little crazy, but we wanted to see if the new fiber optic phone line and the system being built by U.S. Sprint really were so incredibly quiet that you could actually hear a pin drop.
Got it? Loud and clear. That was a pin?
So call now. Find out more and save with U.S. Sprint, where every fiber optic call sounds like you're right next door.
Well, as you must have heard in the last few days, the dollar is down, weaker overseas, and while that should ultimately make American export products more competitive on foreign markets, the foreign products, which Americans like so much, are going to be more expensive. The Japanese Finance Minister, Kiichi Maezawa, flew here today to have an urgent meeting with Treasury Secretary Baker. They've been chatting in Washington today, and our economics editor Dan Kortz has a report tonight on the Japanese problem.
As many American car buyers know, the price of Japanese cars has been climbing steadily for more than a year. For example, this Toyota sports model sold for $12,700 a year ago. Now it's $13,700. Up to now, that has not hurt sales much.
They're maybe surprised at the price of the vehicle, but they're still buying it.
Japanese officials, though, fear that higher prices will soon take a big bite out of their U.S. exports, not only of cars, but cameras, watches, VCRs, and many other products.
They are very sensitive to a loss of export markets, even when they are losing a small chunk of a very big market.
The reason Japanese prices have been going up is the sharp 19th-month climb in the value of the yen. In June 1985, it took 262 yen to equal $1 US. Now you need only 150 yen to purchase $1. Moreover, Japan's total worldwide exports have already fallen enough to slow production in Japan, boost unemployment, and touch off a mild recession. But ironically, although the soaring yen has started to hurt the Japanese, it has not yet benefited this country. We still have a record trade deficit with Japan. So American officials would prefer to see the dollar fall a bit more, which is why it will be very hard to get an agreement at today's meeting. Dan Kortz, ABC News, New York.
In tonight's other money matters, financially troubled Eastern Airlines is asking for more concessions from its workforce. Eastern's president, Phil Bakes, today called for $490 million in employee givebacks. The concessions would hit pilots, flight attendants, and the machinists. The Reagan administration was more than happy to publicize the inflation figures today. The consumer price index rose just 1.1% for all of last year. And strictly speaking, that is the lowest yearly inflation rate in 25 years. There is a but the low inflation rate was almost entirely due to a 20% drop in energy costs. And without that, inflation would have gone up by nearly 4%. On Wall Street, after a record 13 straight days of gaining, the Dow Jones Industrials lost about 10.5 points today as some investors started taking their profits. Volume again was quite heavy. An unusually warm winter in much of North America is causing problems for ice fishermen and those who like to play on the ice. Witness this from Edmonton, Alberta. It almost proved fatal, the weather, to two 10-year-old girls who ventured onto the North Saskatchewan River, only to fall through the thin ice.
You know how to swim? Okay, start kicking.
3 off-duty prison guards happened to be in the area. 2 of the guards formed a human chain on the ice and pulled the girls to safety. The 3rd guard recorded the scene with his video camera. They were all, at least the girls were, treated at a hospital for hypothermia and released. When we come back, hard times and fading glory for the Green Bay Packers.
Runny nose, watery eyes, congestion, and
and a headache. When you've got all these sinus symptoms all together, you've got sinus complex. And that's too complex a problem for most cold or sinus remedies. You need maximum strength Dimetapp, specially developed to relieve all the symptoms of sinus complex. Dimetapp. You'll feel altogether better. And take new Dimetapp nighttime at night to feel altogether better in the morning.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes is America's cereal, pure and simple. They're light, they're crispy, they're full of flavor, they're nutty kind of crispy, real good stuff.
Man, I get into it. I get me a big bowl of them.
Kellogg's is the original cornflakes. Nothing comes close.
I think it has a nostalgic quality to it, like an old rock and roll record. It's one of the last and the best. What else can you say about it?
Cornflakes from Kellogg's. It's what cereal is all about.
Mom, send $500 soon, or there won't be a honeymoon.
I'm calling about your son, Jerome. Bet us some money. He wants to go home.
早く送ってくれないか。スピード違反でパクられた。To send someone money fast, come to Western Union. We'll make sure it gets to any of our 10,000 locations, usually in 15 minutes or less. Sayonara! Western Union, the fastest way to send money.
Tonight on Nightline with Ted Koppel. Condoms are the first line of defense against AIDS. The controversy over where they should be sold and advertised.
Finally this evening, during this week of Super Bowl hype, we have an unhappy report on a once powerful team that won the first Super Bowl. It's the story of how the mighty Green Bay Packers have fallen. Today, a Wisconsin judge ruled that Packers star receiver James Lofton must stand trial on a charge of sexual assault. That is just one of the team's many problems. Here's ABC's Chris Bury.
Along the icy shores of Green Bay, deep in the hearts of its hardy citizens, the Packers dominate this small-town landscape. From Packerland Drive to Lombardi Avenue to the schools named after their legendary coach. A record 11 championships, including the first Super Bowl, have given the smallest town in pro football, population 90,000, a big-time ring.
It's fun having them in town. I don't think Green Bay probably wouldn't have the name they had if it wouldn't have been for the Packers.
But the glory years are gone. Charges of dirty play clouded this season the worst in a decade. Their fumbles on the field magnified by their stumbles off of it.
State of Wisconsin versus James D. Lofton.
Star receiver James Lofton is accused of sexual assault. So is cornerback Mossy Cade in a separate case. Both claim innocence, but it's the fourth time in 2 years that Packers accused of sex crimes have hit the headlines, and Green Bay's proud image is in trouble.
It is embarrassing.
Former Packer captain Larry McCarron is now a Green Bay businessman.
The very thing that the town has prided itself on in the past is embarrassing it a little bit right now.
In a town where the second biggest sport is bowling, there's disappointment in the team that put Green Bay on the map.
Off the field things are what I guess really gets to me.
We don't live and die by the Green Bay Packers anymore. They've done too many negative things to hurt the community now.
And the people here own the team. Ordinary fans hold thousands of public shares.
In a community the size of Green Bay, there's still a different kinship, if you will, or a rapport between the community and the football team than there would be in a large city.
After bad years past, the rallying cry here used to be, the Pack will be back. Now that prospect seems as bleak as the Packers playing field in January. Chris Bury, ABC News, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
And that is our report on World News Tonight. I'm Peter Jennings. Have a nice evening and good night from Washington.
Wednesday is a Balky banquet.
They made fun of me at the market.
With a menu from Mythos?
They said, price check on pig snouts.
Perfect strangers, then.
You're tampering with the forces of nature here.
A magic love potion.
Blast off.
Could make anyone head of the class.
Tonight. You know what this is. You might even know a lot about it, about its maintenance, its repair. What you don't have is all that goes with it. The rewarding career, the chance for promotions, the possibility of running your own business. For an automotive or diesel truck career, you need Lincoln Technical Institute. To put it all together for you, to put you where you want to be, you need the free booklet that tells you more. Call for your free booklet right now. 800-331-1000. That's 800-331-1000.
New York. A kid from California up against the growers of the biggest cash crop.